Okay.
And your time is 7 minutes, right?
7 minutes.
7
Good morning,
minutes.
Toastmasters. Due to the snowstorm yesterday, I was not able to get a picture reproduced that I wanted to show you right off the bat. So I'm just going to give you a quick example from my phone. I'm just going to show it like this, but it would be a picture of my G-baby Theo. That was what I planned to get printed yesterday when I got caught in a snowstorm coming from Woodland Park. Anyway, imagine a fat, little, chubby, smiling Theo. And so the reason I want to show that first is because at Choices, I learned a listening skill. We go through the ministry of listening. When you become a client advocate or a volunteer working with any sort of a client, whether it's a parenting class or a crisis situation. And in the ministry of listening, you learn reflective listening and, I'm going to draw a blank. Another one I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it is. I'll come back to it. How this works, though, is when you get into a situation with a crisis client, they're in a complete panic and not knowing what they're going to do. And the first thing you have to do is diffuse the situation by just saying, look, we have time. You don't have to make any decisions right now. What I want to tell you is that you have some options. And so you diffuse the situation and you get them settled down and you start talking about what those options are. At any rate, I went through this training in 2015, and lo and behold, last year in February, I get a phone call from my oldest daughter, who's 22 years old now, saying, Mom, I'm pregnant. What do I do? I'm like, wow. Well, first of all, I actually know you're pregnant. She's like, what? And she's crying, and I said, well, I saw you 2 weeks ago. We met for lunch in Denver, and the minute you walked through the door, I went, Jordan's pregnant. What am I gonna do? And that was just like the first thought that hit me when they walked in the door when I was meeting them for lunch. And so we had a nice lunch and everything. I kept looking at her, and I just kept getting the sense that she was pregnant, but she didn't even know she was pregnant at the time. So I just thought it was the Lord's way of preparing my heart. Anyway, she was crying and crying, Mom, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I said, Jordan, I said, let's talk about this. I said, you don't have to do anything right now. Let's just talk about what's really going on. So we talked about it, and she was telling me that Garrett, her boyfriend at the time, now her husband, wanted her to abort the baby because this was just going to ruin their lives. Heaven forbid. She said, Mom, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, Jordan, you know my story. I mean, my kids grew up with me being volunteering at Choices, so they knew everything we did at Choices. And so it's just kind of ironic that I'm getting this phone call from my own daughter, right? And I said, well, I just want you to know that whatever you choose, I'm here for you. And this is what we say at Choices. Whatever you choose, we're here for you. So I said, Jordan, you have 3 choices. You can choose to parent your child, you can choose to form an adoption plan for your child, or you can choose to abort your child. I said, what you need to know is as your mom, whatever you choose, I will walk that path with you. I will go wherever we need to go, I will do whatever we need to do, and I will be with you. And she was just like, oh, I thought you were going to go off on me. I thought you were going to scream and holler and tell me how I ruined your life and embarrassed you and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I would never do that. Well, actually, I would have done that probably 5 years earlier. And so learning, going through the ministry of listening and what we used to call it Equipped to Serve, but going through that training and Choices actually helped save Theo's life. Because what I then said to her, I said, would you and Garrett like to come to Choices for an ultrasound? I said, I'm not on staff there, but I said, I think I can make a phone call and make that happen. She said, yes, Mom. So I called Catherine, who was the executive director and also a friend, and I said, Catherine, do you think there's any way we could get Jordan in for an ultrasound? And she said, oh yes, yes we can. Our girls grew up together, you know? And so sure enough, we scheduled it out, and Jordan was gonna tough it out all by herself. I said, no. I said, you invite Garrett to come. It's his baby too. And so they end up coming together, and we go up to Choices, and they see the ultrasound. And on this ultrasound, this is rather miraculous because she was 6 weeks and 1 day pregnant. Not always do you ever see anything. We don't even schedule them that early if we can bump it out another 2 weeks. But here was this perfect little egg sac with a little beating heart. And they both looked at it and went, wow, now we really have to talk. Because it's not just this blob of tissue anymore, you know? So they left. We all left together because we drove up together, but they got in the car and they said, Mom, thank you so much for bringing us here today. We really didn't know, and we didn't want to know, because we were going to make a hard decision. And I said, you're welcome. And I said, whatever you choose. I said, I just need you to know, whatever you choose, I'm going to walk with you in this path as much as you want me to. And so what I would say is, I know that my ability to hear what she was saying and to hear her stress and her pain and her panic, and to use the skills that I had learned at Choices, diffuse the situation to the point that I got them to be able to come for an ultrasound. Because if I had said the wrong thing and gone off on her, she would have went to the first abortion clinic she could have found and took good care of it. And I wouldn't have my G-baby Theo right now. And he's a beautiful joy, and nobody can imagine life without him, you know? And so using the skill of listening going forward in my leadership at Choices is going to be imperative for my staff, and learning how they work, how we work together, how I can help support them and help build them up in their desires and their position. Thank you, Toastmasters.